Hello friends, welcome to Coding Garden with CJ. In this coding challenge, I am going to attempt to implement the blink tag in 1,337 seconds. Now, if you are unfamiliar with the blink tag, this tag was deprecated from HTML back in 97, I think it was. But the way it worked is you could wrap text in blink, and it would work just like Alka is showing right there. It would blink the text. It would blink like that. But this doesn't work anymore. So the code I have written right now, just some basic styles to look nice, and then I have the word hello world inside of the tag blink. And it's not blinking. So I want to make that work. And the way I'm going to try to make that work is using a custom element. So web components are a spec that was introduced in the web browser, and it allows you to create custom elements. So I can write JavaScript code that detects when someone uses the blink tag and adds some custom behavior on that. So that's what I'm going to attempt to do. I have not attempted this yet. Oh, hey, Revive New. You're back. I have not attempted this yet. I'm trying it for the first time, live. Let's go. So we're going to need to create a web component. We'll take a look at custom elements, and basically we need to write some code that registers blink as a custom element. So you can do custom elements.define, and if we look in the web browser, make it blink. So custom elements is a thing, so we can actually use that. So right now I'm using Firefox, and if we look, do we see support? Actually, we can look at can I use for custom element. Custom elements absolutely not supported in IE, but supported a lot of other places. Okay, so we're looking at the MDN docs here. We need to define. So we're going to add a script tag. And we're just going to add this script tag right here. So actually, better name for it. We're going to call it blink.js. And we're going to rename this to be blink.js. There we go. And we need to do custom elements.define. We specify what is the element that we are looking for. In this case, we're looking for the blink element. We're going to specify a class that we'll define. And in this case, you can specify what element it extends. So I think actually, let's extend a span, because this shouldn't be a block level element by default. It'll just behave like a span, but it blinks the text that's inside of it. So we're going to extend a span, and we're going to create a class for blink. Now let's look back at MDN and see what we need to do. So you can do extends, and then I'll do HTML span element. Okay. So I'm creating a custom class called blink. It extends span, and which should be registered for blink. So we'll have the constructor we need to call super. And let's see if this works. Why is this complaining? Useless constructor. Well, ESLint, it'll be useful soon. So actually, let's just log custom blink element. And I think if everything is working correctly, because I have an element on the page that's using the blink tag, and because I have loaded this script file, and because it's registering, it should detect it. Let's see. Blink is not a valid custom element name. All right, there goes the video right there. What? Does it have to have a dash in it? Can I call it Blinky? It might need a dash in it. It must start with a prefix. All right, we're going to call it CG-blink for Coding Garden. CG-blink. All right, that's not working. There's a fly in here. And now instead of blink, I'll have to do CG-blink. So unfortunately, we can't call it blink, but I am going to call it CG-blink. And let's see if it works. There we go. So our code is now running. We can see that the constructor runs, and we have our custom blink element. So I think we're there. So we need a shadow. So you might have heard of the shadow DOM. Basically, custom elements can hide themselves from the outside world. So with custom elements, you can style them, and you can make it so that they're not affected by styles from the outside. And also you can write styles on the element that don't affect outside of itself, which is very nice. And we are going to attach a shadow. So we're going to do this in the constructor. Like that. Is it that it needs a prefix? If I read more on this page, I could probably figure out what the name actually needs to be. So this creates some custom elements inside of it. I don't really want to get the attribute. I think what I want is I want to get this dot, like the contents of the element itself. I really don't even know if I need to do this. I think we just need to blink it. Let's just make it blink. So let's say something like this dot current HTML equals this dot inner HTML. So we have access to its own HTML, and then we can create a function that blinks it, that basically removes everything and then adds everything. Is that accurate though? Because it'll actually make it smaller and then bigger. That's okay. That's fine. We're gonna create a custom method called blink, and we'll say if this dot current HTML has a value, then we'll say this dot current HTML equals if this dot inner HTML, that's why you use visibility. Huh. All right, we can do that. Never mind. We'll use visibility. So when it starts up, we're gonna call our custom blink method, this dot blink, and we'll just have a custom property. We'll say this dot is visible, focus, equals true. So it starts off as visible, and we'll say if this dot is visible, then this dot style dot visibility equals hidden. Right? Is that how that works? Else, if it was not visible, then we'll say that it was visible. And we'll flip-flop it. So after we've done that, we'll say this dot is visible equals... So visible is default. So this just wants a blank line. There we go. Hi Shaggy, what's up? That was meant to blink. So the blink tag doesn't work in there. Okay, so if it's visible, make it hidden. If it's not visible, make it visible, and then we'll toggle that. And then we just need to call this method again in like 1 second. So we'll just do set timeout. We'll do this dot blink, and we'll do it in 1 second. Let's see, does it work? Can't access property visibility. This dot style is undefined. Cool. So the fact that I put this function there means it was like bound in the wrong context. So I'm gonna wrap it in a an arrow function so it keeps the context. All right. I think we've done it. That was too easy. That was way too easy. Here's a fun idea. How about we make it so that you can specify how fast it blinks. And so, yeah, for those of you that just arrived, this is basically what we did. We have this element called cg-blink, and you can put anything you want inside of it. So you could do something like, wow, this works. And then we've written code that creates a custom element called cg-blink. So this is web components. We're creating a custom web component that just blinks its contents. Too easy. Wow, this works. Oh, so we could do, yeah, let's do rate. So let's do this. If you specify a prop called rate, this will be like number of milliseconds or number of seconds. This will be milliseconds. And then we can actually use that value in here. So we'll say this dot interval is this dot get attribute rate, or we'll default to 1000. So this, yeah, milliseconds. So you specify the milliseconds, and then now we'll do that down here. So if I specify like 200, this should blink really fast. Oh no, accidentally closed it. Yeah, so now it's rate. Look, it works. Yeah, so browser sync keeps connecting. That's the thing that automatically refreshes the browser. Actually, it's like really big. Easy. Yeah, so now, I mean, we can have all kinds of blinks on the page. We could have that one with a rate of 200. We could have this one with a rate of like 800, so it's a little bit slower. A little slower. But you'll notice that because we inherited from the span element, by default, it's an inline element, right? So if we wanted it to behave like a div where it's by default a block element, we actually could extend from that instead. Let's try that. And that way it's like block by default. So we'll say extend div, and then we'll say extends HTML div element. And now that should be block level element. Why not? Why not? I like that challenge, SFox. That will give we can implement that in 11 minutes. Let's try a p tag, HTML paragraph element. Weird. All right, I guess it's not. I guess it's not it doesn't have default styles, so that's fine. We'll just go back to the span element. But technically, we could specify some style here. I don't have any custom styles yet, but I could. I could set its default. I could set it to be a block element. I mean, you could inject a style tag. I could also do something like this.style.display equals block. And then that will make it a block element, so it actually does appear on the next line. Cool. All right. Do I need to inject a style tag? Yeah, I would. I would basically, if I wanted to specify custom CSS. Oh yeah, and then that's the cool thing. I could add this code to my overlay, and then anyone could use the CG blink tag. And Unhot with the raid. Thank you very much, Unhot. Welcome, raiders. All right. In 10 minutes, can we implement a fade? So instead of just like straight up blinking, let's do this for 1 second. Prevent. Welcome, Von Pop. So instead of blinking, can we make it fade in and out? And I think we'll do that with CSS. So for that, we probably will need to inject some custom styles. Let's see how they're doing it here. So they're doing document.createElementStyle, and then they're appending that style to the shadow DOM. And that makes it so these styles that they specify only apply to the shadow DOM. So this is where we will need the shadow DOM. Let's do that, because we're going to create some CSS keyframe animations to allow us to fade. So we're going to have a rate. Let's do like a rate of 2 seconds. And we want to specify the fade prop. And if we specify fade, then it will apply the fade animation instead. So, wow. Yeah, well, welcome on Hot. I appreciate you. Okay, so, yeah, we need, not that. We need the shadow DOM. So we've got the shadow DOM. Shadow DOM. And it's in open mode. I've worked a little bit with web components before. You really never need a closed shadow, because if it's closed, then you can't like adjust it. I don't know. Okay, and then we can create a literal style tag. And Sean, thank you for that host. And resub with Unhot with the resub. Thank you very much, Unhot. Much appreciated. Oh, you just had a yerba for the first time right now at midnight. You're in New York, right? It's midnight 30 where you are. That's funny. So, well, actually, we'll do this. So we'll say if, yeah. So we're gonna set up all of that stuff, and we'll say if this.getAttributeFade. So if we're fading, then we're going to use CSS to animate it. Otherwise, we're going to just blink it like we were doing, which just toggles the visibility, which is fine. It's always going to be a block element. We do that, and we'll set up the interval beforehand, because we're going to use the interval for both fading and blinking. Okay, so if it was fade, then we want to inject some styles. So that's when we will attach the shadow. We're going to create a style element. And then we need to append that style to the shadow DOM. That's appending a wrapper too. I don't know if we need that. Let's see. So append it. And let's just say style.textContent is going to be like this. And for now, let's just see if this works. We're going to set the color to be red. So on that last element, it should be red. Is it red? Oh, it's not red. So this is not working. And we might have to set inner HTML. We might also need a wrapper element. I'm going to change the text here. This should fade. You really want... There's a lot of caffeine in it. Okay. So that right now is just blinking. Which means that the attribute fade is not there. Let's see what the value is. Hey, what's up, Lapsy? Welcome to the show. Fade attribute. Let's see what the value is. Get attribute returns an empty string. Ah, so if it's not null. Okay. Thank you, Oxfox, or Oxfo. Much appreciated. So if this .get attribute does not equal null, then we're going to do that, which specifies the style is red. And let's see if we can see it in the DOM. This should fade. So we have the shadow root, which specified those styles. That's great. But we actually don't even see the text at all. And is the reason... I guess we actually might need an inner wrapper element, because you can see right now the height is 0. So that's probably why they have the wrapper element here. So we'll go ahead and do that. Though... Oh, you're right. It might not apply to text nodes. Okay. And how could we apply it to the parent element itself? Well, right now we're not actually using this. So we're only using this variable if we're blinking. But if we're not blinking, we're trying to do it with pure CSS. Yeah. Select the element with the name CG Blink. No. But I'm also curious why the height of this element is literally 0. Do we need root? Regardless, the moment we attach the shadow DOM here, like I don't even need to attach the style. The moment we did shadow DOM, this thing has no height at all, which I think means we need some sort of wrapper element. All right, we got 4 minutes. We can figure this out. The main issue is like, how do we get the current inner HTML and specify that? I think it's fine. Is there any reason to use visibility? Because we want it... Well, you could use opacity. You technically could use opacity as well. Package managers are cool. I agree. All right. So we're going to create our wrapper element. That is a span. We append the style to the shadow, and then we append the wrapper to the shadow as well, like that. But what I want to do is I want to say wrapper dot inner HTML equals this dot inner HTML. So whatever you specified gets set inside of it. Yeah. So now we have that. And technically, like, this actually isn't working for some reason, but that's okay. I think if I do star, it should be red. Yeah. So the styles are applied. That's great. Well, I'm curious why we don't actually see the span in... Oh, it's in both places. I see. We have the previous text which we put in there. So I think I don't know if this is the right way to do this. I don't know if it is, but I'm gonna say we do this, And then we set its inner HTML to nothing. That might actually break it. Okay, this is the desired behavior. I don't know if this is the best way to do it, but basically we have a span that now has the content that was previously set, but it's inside of it. Okay, now we need a CSS animation. Yeah, you could add that. So if I wanted to know if like fade or the rate changed, we could add that as well. But I only have a minute left, so we need CSS fade animation. Or really, I need to look up CSS keyframe, because I could figure it out from there. We only have a minute and 30 seconds. Keyframe animation syntax. All right. Here we go. Name. No, I just need keyframes. This should just work. I just always forget the syntax. So we have, we're going to call this fade. And it goes from opacity 0 to opacity 1. We then are going to say, we're going to give this span that we create a class. So we'll say wrapper.add class, or no, wrapper.classlist.add wrapper. And then we're going to put that animation on the wrapper class. So we'll say wrapper animation fade. We need to pass in the rate. So this dot interval, milliseconds, infinite. How's that work? Okay, we only have 20 seconds left, but we need it to reset. What's the property that makes it okay, alternate backwards. That's what we want. All right, 13 seconds left. Infinite, alternate backwards. Okay, so it fades, and then it should fade out. Look at that, we did it. And then it fades back in, and then it should fade back out. Very cool. Yeah, we did it. Great work, everyone. So, and you can see the different ways we have of doing this. So, if you look in the HTML, this is how the code looks. Wow! Oh, thank you very much, Code Show, for the 50 bits. Thank you very much. So, you can specify a rate prop, and then it will blink at that rate in milliseconds. And so you can specify different ones. And then we added this fade prop. And if that's specified, then it uses CSS to change the opacity. Could I try root? Yeah, let's try it. So instead of wrapper, let's do root, like that. That did not work. Is it host? It's host. Very cool. Yeah, and let's increase it. River Morel with the 200 bits. Thank you very much. So actually, let's go way slower, or faster, 300. So it should. That's like almost blinking. What about like over 5 seconds? What would that look like at? Yeah, so there, fades in, and then it should fade back out over 5 seconds. Yeah. Awesome. All right, that's it for this code challenge. Thank you for watching. It was kind of anticlimactic. I was excited about the fact that we might actually be able to create a custom element that was just blink, but that didn't work. You need a prefix. We learned a little bit about the fact that you need to attach the shadow DOM, attach wrapper elements. This right here is probably a little hacky. I don't know if you really needed to do that. And ultimately, the initial implementation was super easy. So thank you for watching. And yeah, I should probably add epilepsy warning. All right. If you like this kind of stuff, tune in on Twitch, twitch.tv/codinggarden. See you there. Yeah, and so for anybody just joining, that's going to be on YouTube. All right, that was fun. Animation time should be half of the time span. You're right. You're right, because we need to fade in and out. Four, five, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. Okay. So the video is not over. Jayaklik has the fix. We technically needed to divide the time by 2 because we're fading in and fading out. So thank you for that. Okay, see you later.